Hello, I'm Dana ault-riche, President and CEO of Reflexion Pharmaceuticals. We're living in a very exciting time in medicine right now. Antibody and protein drugs have really revolutionized the way in which we can treat diseases. The exciting thing about antibody and protein drugs, or the biologics, is that they're relatively large, and with that size comes specificity towards the targets that they're intended to interact with. At Reflexion, we're creating a new class of drugs that retains this specificity associated with antibody and protein drugs, but in a minimal structure. Our drugs are about 20 times smaller than an antibody. Now, making something that's a bit smaller enables you to have several different advantages, including giving smaller dosing volumes and dosing in ways that you just can't do with an antibody, such as dosing by inhalation or by extended release. Making a small protein also enables you to go after targets that are hidden to a larger protein like an antibody. Well, the naturally occurring proteins are made out of amino acids that have a certain geometry associated with them. We call these L-amino acids. And in the laboratory, we can make a different type of amino acid called D-amino acids, which have the mirror image geometry of the L-amino acids. These mirror image proteins are essentially invisible to proteases and to our immune system. One of the diseases that we're focusing on is a disease called wet age-related macular degeneration, or wet AMD. Wet AMD is the leading cause of blindness in the developed world. The good news is that there have recently been developed several great drugs to treat this disease. Avastin, Lucentis, and Eylea work by blocking a growth factor in the eye called VEGF-A. Because these are larger protein drugs, they have to be administered by direct injection into the eye every few months for the rest of the patient's life. At Reflexion, we've created a VEGF-A blocking drug that's very potent, very stable, completely resistant to proteases, non-immunogenic, and we're currently testing its capability to be dosed in a much less invasive way. Another way that Reflexion is utilizing its technology is to treat influenza. Over 500,000 people a year die of influenza infections, and the recent emergence of a strain H7N9 in China has been a scary reminder that we're only just a few mutations away from a potential pandemic. Now, recently there was a structure on a protein that coats the surface of the virus. The name of the protein is hemagglutinin, and this structure, which is located near the virus's surface, is constant and yet vital on all the different strains of influenza. People can make antibodies against this structure, but the antibodies have a hard time reaching it because of their large size and because how closely these hemagglutinin molecules are packed on the surface of the virus. We're developing a small protein, 20 times smaller than an antibody, that can reach this structure and help to stabilize and neutralize the virus infection. These are just a few examples of the ways in which Reflexion is utilizing its technology, mirror image proteins, to create a new class of drugs to make better, more effective drugs for patients. Thank you.